I think we can all be friendly with each other and like each other, but we can't live together or communicate or anything. It just should be over, you know? What can you do, you know? Anybody else would probably be happy if they had what we have.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, I'm Dee Dee Ramone, and I'd like to congratulate myself and thank myself and give myself a big pat on the back. Thank you, Dee Dee. You're very wonderful. I love you. Thank you. Hey, guys. You're not taking that. I'll take one, too. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, oh, let's go. 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 Hey, oh, let's go.
Yeah, this is it.
How do you feel coming back here? Do you feel anything at all?
No. You know, this place has sort of lost its thing for me. It doesn't even feel like home.
But this is where we used to hang out a lot. Wouldn't you know it, looks like it's closed off. Barbed wire up there. It means that times have changed.
This time was great. It was very important. I mean, he talked us into me and Dee Dee starting a band. I mean, he was bugging me and Dee Dee for about a year to start a band. You know, we told him it was sick and we shouldn't do that.
At the time of our teens, we all lived in Forest Hills.
It had a lot of hills. Forest Hills does have too many hills, and Queens Boulevard is too wide to cross. With that, a lot of people get hit by cars there, and all the kids there were more like taking LSD and marijuana, and you know, were more sophisticated, like young college students types. I don't think John and I and Tommy fit in there one bit.
Because we're all kind of outcasts. Maybe at one point, maybe loners more so, you know?
How did you meet those guys?
They all said, I heard you like the Stooges, something like that. You know, and I said, yeah, you know, I like them. Like maybe 3 people like the Stooges in the whole area. And everybody else was like violently against them. So if you like the Stooges, you had to be friends with each other.
No fun with my babe. No fun.
We had one friend, like Richie Stern, and he was the leader of the Stooges fans. So through him, we would like hang out and sniff glue or smoke pot. And listen to we had a live Stooges tape. We'd always play it, you know, as part of hanging out, listening to Iggy and watch Richie sing like Iggy a little bit for us.
During the summer months, we would hang out in the area of Forest Hills, and there was one particular hangout that was called Thornycroft. It was an apartment complex which had a courtyard.
When I was a kid, I grew up on the block and met Johnny when I was real young. Bought my first pack of firecrackers from him. He had a little bit of a volatile personality. Yeah, he was cool with me, just that, you know, other people he might have not been so cool with. I seen him pop this guy's father in the face. Because my windows are right up here. And I was looking down and he got into a fight and must have started with the kid, and the kid's father came up to the playground and he like popped him in the nose. Popped the father in the nose. But, you know, things like that happen when you're hanging out.
That was bad. I was bad every minute of the day, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed.
Really?
Anything I could think of to do, I'd do it.
Really? Stole, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't have my mother watching this.
John went off to college a week before I did, because he went down to Florida. So he goes down to Florida, okay? So we all had like a farewell party for him. The next week, I come out of my house. I'm walking up the hill towards Thornycroft. And there sits John. I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing here?" He says, "I didn't like it down there."
Into 20 was a trying period, figuring out what to do with yourself. So I was sort of delinquent at that point.
Do you think the Ramones saved you from that kind of?
Oh no, I already grew out of that stuff already. I grew out of it by the time I was 20. I was walking on the block one day and it just hit me. It was like a voice going, "What are you doing? Is this what you're here for? Is this what God put us here for?" And went home and stopped everything. Plotted out the rest of my, what I was going to do with myself. What was okay to do, what wasn't okay to do. Just changed in a matter of 1 minute.
Joey, I didn't know that well. Joey was sort of quiet.
He was kind of reclusive and shy, and I realized that he was not like the other kids. He was a loner.
And Joey, I don't know, he was difficult. He used to leave his brother's albums on the radiator and stuff like that, and, you know, not put them back in the cover and they'd be melted. Steal everybody's hash, I think.
We were walking down the street at night and Jeff was so tall. I mean, I'd be looking up to Jeff, like this, you know? "What's up?" He goes, "Hey, yeah, what's up, man?" You know, that was Jeff, man. It was like, to me, he was like freaky, man, you know? He was like, but he was cool. He was together upstairs, you know? He knew his stuff. He looked funny, but he was together upstairs, you know?
The projections for him from childhood were not good. And teacher said, you know, his eyes are bad, he's not reading well. He was a slow student, but they didn't think about his basic intelligence. He was highly intelligent and very, very creative. They didn't even look at that side of him.
Joey, when he was about, I guess, 18, decided to check himself into St. Vincent's because he was having a really hard time with his condition called OCD, right? Obsessive compulsive disorder. He would hear voices that forced him to repeat things.
I did take him to a specialist. They said he was compulsive.
So they would just tell my mother that this guy has an emotional disorder that is probably going to render him useless to function in society for the remainder of his life. We were all worried about what was going to become of him.
I mean, music really was my salvation, and it always has been. I mean, for me, it's something very special. You know what I mean? It's like I remember like times I was like really miserable or really depressed, you know, and I put on a nice soothing record like the Stooges, because it would be like an exorcism, you know. It's like, you know, like just like a total release, you know.
I saw my brother on stage with his band Sniper. No, he was never a singer in a band before. He was already on when I walked in. And I see him up there, and I see this guy who had gone through a transformation that I had never seen except for, like, you know, in the movies. Like, I guess the closest thing I could think of is like Jerry Lewis in The Nutty Professor, you know? But so fucking aggressive, I couldn't believe it was the same person. And he was singing like he was fucking roaring, you know? So happy for him to see him, like, have the balls to go up and do something like that, you know? But I could tell he was finally finding his niche. And then a week later, they throw him out of the band because he wasn't pretty.
Now, Johnny didn't like your brother when he was right?
He didn't get along with my brother. He didn't really even want to know him because my brother was kind of a, I don't want to say a freak. We were all freaks, you know. But he was more of a hippie freak. I guess. And John, even though he was, you know, he was not a, he tried to come off like a right-wing conservative, but he was also a big Charles Manson advocate. All those guys were into the you know, the glitter scene. John was wearing satin pants and, you know, chinchilla coats. I guess that's where John and my brother found the connection.
Well, you know, me and John, we go see the Stooges, and, you know, we all got kind of turned on to the MC5 about, you know, the same time, and Alice Cooper.
Like, were any girls ever involved at this stage of the game?
Never, no. Any girls in Forest Hills would leave there to find a man somewhere else, to East Village or something, you know what I mean? You wouldn't want anybody. It wasn't cool to be from Queens. You would lie about it. If you went into Manhattan, you wouldn't tell them, oh, I got an apartment in the city, you know. Then you go back to your mom's house.
So it was just the guys hanging out?
Joey and me, you know, and John and me and Richie Stern, and you know, with their platform shoes and doing your hair for 2 hours and all. And that's all. We just like maybe be able to make it to Tommy's car. And that's about as much of a production as everybody could. There was nowhere to go after that. Later there was when the Dolls started playing.
When I say I'm in love, you best believe I'm in love, L-U-V.
Their shows would be like these real eventful kind of nights that everybody came down. It was real decadent, but great. You know, great songs, great energy, you know, real wild stage antics.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just the best thing in the world. There's nobody that could compete with them. I was just going because it was just the music was just incredible. And clothes and stuff, and the freaks running around. It was great. And then they'd make that long trip home back to Queens. It was rough.
I saw where the musicianship was going at that point in time. This is the drug era coming into rock and roll, so everyone was getting into the overindulgence of their playing. Long solos, you felt no way can ever be able to play like this. Even if you have the talent, you have to sit there for 15 years practicing. All of a sudden I went to see the New York Dolls play. I was seeing bands now that what rock and roll was supposed to be, seeing how great they could sound and how great they could be with limited musicianship.
So finally, John calls me up one day, says, oh, I bought a guitar. And they said, and I'm talking to Dee Dee and everything. I said, let's get together and talk about it. Maybe we can put something together.
I had just left another band, and Dee Dee liked my style. And so he mentioned to John that he wanted me in the band.
So the two people that we knew then would be Joey played drums. Me and Dee Dee were going to play guitar. Tommy was our advisor. Tommy then would go make Dee Dee the bass player, you play the guitar.
And Dee Dee would sing, but he couldn't sing and play at the same time, so when he was singing, he wasn't playing. When he was playing, he wasn't singing.
And then Joey would sing. Lo and behold, he had this great voice.
Tommy really pushed the Joey issue, especially as a singer. So it's not my idea of a singer, but Tommy said, no, he's going to look good in between you and Dee Dee.
So when we decided to have Joey become the singer, we needed a drummer.
We kept trying drummers out, and then one day no one showed up to try someone out, and Tommy just sat in, and we convinced Tommy into that it was sounding right with Tommy, and we convinced him to stay in the band.
So, but at first I was very rushed. I'd never played drums, so it took me a little while, you know, to just be able to do that, which fit in with their playing because they were kind of learning how to play themselves. But as soon as I started playing drums, the whole sound of the band changed. It started to gel, to become the Ramones.
Well, Dee Dee was using the surname Dee Dee Ramone. Ramone was, the way we were going to be using it was to create a sense of unity, you know, and a bond of sorts.
mother had an art gallery, and we were in the art gallery, and this was after closing, and we were rehearsing some of the songs. And Dee Dee and Joey were running down Judy's a Punk. That's the first time I heard Judy's a Punk. I had never heard anything like this. This was something that was futuristic.